Hussein Kanji is a tech venture capitalist who earlier this year topped the list of the 100 most influential technology investors in Europe, and he joins us from London. Hussein, thanks so much for coming in and speaking with us. Groupon, you're saying, is a technology soap opera. The price is very, very high, but a lot of it is because of the extraordinary low flow. So it's a supply and demand issue, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think when Groupon opens in just a little bit, I think the real question is going to be what's it going to be worth and what's the market going to price at. I think given the low supply of the float, I think it's really going to be a supply-demand question. I think there looks like there's a lot of demand. I mean, they're priced up above the IPO price initially, and I think there's going to be very little supply to fulfill that demand. And so I think the stock will probably end up trading up, even though on a fundamental value, you might question those assumptions.
Right, the low float will give it that initial pop on the first day. What are the unintended drawbacks, though, of having such a low float?
I think the biggest problem is if the company then ends up unlocking any kind of insider sales 6 months from now. We see this happening with LinkedIn. LinkedIn is doing another share issuance. The stock's going to respond, right? Because there's going to be a lot more supply all of a sudden, and supply-demand economics kick in again.
Now, company insiders can't sell their stock as soon as it goes public, as soon as the share is free today, right?
No. The SEC doesn't allow that, so most people are going to be locked up right now.
How long is a lockup period normally?
6 months is normal, and in this case, the insiders at Groupon have decided they're not going to sell. So some of the institutional investors that had backed them have refrained from wanting to sell in the IPO, mostly I think to facilitate this IPO.
Well, we know that Groupon had held off back in September because of volatile market conditions. Is this now the right time to be going public?
Well, I think any time that you can get out is a good time. We're all I think watching what's happening in the G20, and the general world I think is not super optimistic. Hopefully there's good news today from the U.S., but the technology world is actually doing very well. This has been a really interesting time I think to build a company, and so if the public markets are going to be receptive towards Groupon,
right.
And this is a great time to get out, I guess.
All right, thank you so much. Our thanks to Hussein Kanji. He's a venture capitalist and one of the most influential tech investors in Europe.